Hi, I'm Brittany from Physiotherapy, and we are having an aquarium club auction. And I know a lot of people want to bring fish and plants to our auction, but maybe don't know how to bag them properly. So here I'm going to just do a really quick video on what you might need to bag some plants or some fish or some shrimp to bring them to the auction, and how to do that safely, and give you some do's and don'ts so that when you show up, if you want to bring something to sell, anybody can sell at the auction, then you can do it. And here we go. We have some plants that we're going to actually bag. So here we have your essentials for bagging fish and plants. I, of course, with the store, have a lot of different sized bags, and you'll want some good bags that are an appropriate size for the fish that you're bringing or the plants that you're bagging, so that they're not squished. When you're bagging fish, you're going to need at least one bag. Sometimes people will double bag their fish, and especially if you have plecos or anything with barbels, it is ideal to use a little bit of a thicker bag. So typically bags are 2-3 mil thick. Sometimes you can get them 4 mil thick, and those ones are better for plecos, or at least double bag them. Elastics. I mean, you can, of course, tie a bag, but if on the day you have an air leak, it is really hard to untie a bag if it's in a knot, opposed to being able to open up the bag, put air in it properly, and then just retie it with an elastic. So if you tie it with an elastic properly, an elastic is great. And then I like a container when I'm catching really small fish, because putting them directly into a bag can be a little bit scary, and I'll show you how I bag. So I like to start with a container, because if you happen to go to pour some water into your bag and miss, it's going to go onto the floor. So a container actually is a nice little contingency, especially if you're catching really small shrimp and fish that maybe will jump, or you're putting them into quite a small bag. It's just really nice to have a container. So that's why I use a container here. For the Anubias that I have to bag today, I'm going to just use this bag here. I believe this bag here, I believe this one is about 8 inches. I usually stretch the mouth of the bag. It's not going to affect the integrity of the bag because this is the loose top. So it just kind of gives the top of the bag a little rigidity. It doesn't really matter with the plants, but when you put fish, when you're going to like pour fish or shrimp into a bag, you don't want it all flimsy, and it's nice to have pull it, and it'll give it a little bit of rigidity. Certain plants you'll want to pack with a little bit of water. These Anubias here, they don't really require any water. I usually will give them a little spritz just because, you know, it doesn't hurt. So here, you just grab the bag a little bit higher up. So now that it's in, the water's in the bag, we don't need that there, so you can see. I'm gonna just grab the bag higher up. You can kind of just roll your hand down, twist it. Here's where a lot of people don't really get. I twist it real good, and then I actually fold it over here, but I don't tie it. What I'll do is, with this hand, I actually grab this with my pinky, and then I will pass it through. So you kind of make a slip knot, and then go the opposite direction, and you can just tie that baby up nice and tight. Just swing it like that, and then just for the last couple, do this. Okay, so here I'm just going to grab a couple of the orange shrimp out of this tank to bag. So I personally much prefer to use a container, for a few reasons. I'm not trying to like aim into a bag. This allows me to clearly see, oops, if I caught too many, and I can adjust the amount of water before it goes into the bag. And I just honestly, catching whatever I'm going to be bagging into a container first has been really a life changer. It was really stressful trying to bag things right in. I have a good net here, and I'll just grab a couple shrimps. I always bag all shrimp and anything that especially likes to cling to something, mostly shrimp, but crayfish as well. And most fish I'll bag with a really small portion of a plant, and that plant is usually sublacitang. It's nice and easy, and it looks pretty, and it doesn't require a lot of light at all, so it is good to go. Even if it's in the dark for like 2 whole weeks, this plant will survive. So I will put a little piece of that in with the shrimp as I'm bagging them. All right, so we have the shrimp here ready to be bagged, and I selected the bag size. We're going for a little bit of a skinnier bag because the shrimp are small and don't really need a big bag. So like I was showing you before, you just stretch the top of the bag out. You don't have to do this. I'm just saying it will keep its form a little bit better. So with the shrimp here, sometimes they will get caught up in the plant. So I like to take the plant out and put the plant in separately. And then I'll pour some of the water. I will check, because shrimp are notorious for staying on the bottom and not coming out of the cup smoothly. So I will pour almost all of it and check that they're in there, and then I'll give it like a gentle sway so that they swim and they don't sit there, and then pour them in. And then way less likely that they're going to be stuck in the bottom of the container. And then here they are in the bag. And I think maybe there's a little bit too much water in this bag. So what I'll do is just grab the container and pour a little bit of the water back into the container. That's a little bit better. So I'm going to just set this in the container here gently, make sure nobody's squished in a corner, and grab up on the bag. And here we're going to just twist. And at this point, I'll lift it up. And you want at least 2/3 air and 1/3 water. That's the minimum ratio that you're going to go for. If about 50-50, it's a little too small amount of air. It's a little too short on air. You're going to want more air than water by about 2/3. I'll grab the elastics, not on my wrist, and I'll grab it with my pinky, pass it through so that I've created a slip knot in this direction. I'm going to just pull it in the opposite direction so that it's nice and tight. And then you just keep spinning it. These guys get a little dizzy down here, I bet. Whoa. So I keep it nice and tight. So it'll look like that. And that's just spun around. And then at the end, put it through a couple times. You can tie your bag however you want, however is comfortable for you, but I find that's a really good, easy way so that if for any reason you need to put more air in the bag or adjust what's inside of the bag, remove fish that accidentally died in the bag, you can do that and then reclose the bag. So important tips for preparing anything for the aquarium auction or for transport in general is stop feeding your fish about 1 day in advance or 2 days in advance. They are not going to starve. Almost all fish are capable of being shipped all the way across the world, so you can definitely not feed them for a day or two and then bring them or transport them, they will be okay. Don't feed your fish or shrimp in the bag or container that you're transporting them in. This is a big no-no. It can create a very quick ammonia spike and cause chaos. The other thing to remember is, of course, the appropriate water to air ratio, and to make sure that you keep your little shrimp or fish or plants out of this direct sun, because in a small container or bag, they can heat up really, really quickly. So if you can transport them in an insulated cooler, that is ideal. So this is Brittany for tips on bagging and joining the aquarium auction. Go do it. It's so fun. You won't regret it.